On March 8, 1973, American Indians at Wounded Knee, South Dakota, donned war paint, an act symbolizing their willingness to fight and, if necessary, to die for the cause. Many of the new warriors were members of AIM, the American Indian Movement. The following film presents the case of the American Indian Movement as seen through the eyes of one of their leaders, Dennis Banks.
See, I look across this land here, and I can see life and Mother Earth, and I can see back 500 years when there was no problems for the Indian people. There was no employment problems, no housing problems, no welfare problems. And I keep wondering, you know, why they came here. And then I began to think about, you know, how it would be if I lived 500 years ago. We all must be going through some kind of punishment right now for some kind of wrong that we've done. Because right now, this is hell. Nobody can make it, really can't make it. Indians can't make it. Poor whites can't make it. Middle-class whites can't make it. Blacks can't make it. Chicanos can't make it. The question is, you know, who can make it? Nobody. It's totally frustrating. So I would say we must be going through some kind of punishment for some wrongdoing that we've done to Earth. And I could have made it on the reservation if certain treaty laws and treaty rights were being enforced. As it was, no treaties are being enforced, and a lot of Indians are forced on relief rolls and forced to beg and forced to steal, forced to commit crimes against so-called society and end up in prison. I did a lot of prison time, and I began to study, you know, why I was there, and trying to justify the reasons why society had placed me in prison, and I couldn't find any. And finally, I began to realize that white America commits crimes daily against the Indian community and Indian reservation, Indian lands. That's the real, where it's really at. Not what I did, you know, to go to prison. But I was determined then that I would start or become part of a new movement that would bring all of these things to the surface and attack them right up there on where we could see them and on the table. Our crime is that we were born in this century, that we were born under this system, white society. We haven't committed any crime against this system. The real criminal is white society itself and all the crimes that they have been committing against Indian people. It is because of those feelings, because of the feelings that have developed the situation in Custer, because of this archaic judicial system, AIM has asked Indian citizens to arm themselves. We're going to teach these people a lesson once and for all. There isn't very many Indian people left in the United States. And there may be less when the war is all over. But when it is over, you can better believe one thing, that there will be some kind of justice for Indian citizens. You know, I want those people stumbling over each other to wait on me. You know, I want them people to say, no, that's all right, Mr. Banks, you don't have to pay for this if I've left my wallet at home. I want all those people, those non-Indians, to step aside when an Indian walks down that street, whether he walks down sober, whether he walks down drunk, or whether he crawls down that street. I want a path opening up for him. Those people that elect to get in the way, those people who do not want to get out of the way, then they have to be thrown out of the way, or we're going to run all over them. To demonstrate, they have failed to listen to it. And now this commitment to social change has forced us beyond the brink of violence.
We've always been peaceful and pretty much mind our own business and making our living and raising our family. Law-abiding. Now, not paying any attention to what's happening to other people, now I can see that that was the wrong thing to do, is to just stay home and be like an ostrich with his head stuck in the sand, because it's hurting too many of our people. It's affecting us. But until when the Ames came, they made us realize that we don't have to take those things. And right or wrong, the AIM has shown us, and I admire them, because we didn't have guts enough, I'll say, to get up and speak for ourselves. Well, I believe that the time has come that we have to commit violence in order to be heard. I don't want to see anybody killed or anything, but the time's going to come when violence might have to be committed in order to wake the people up. We're not going to let up on any of these towns for one day.
We said that we would keep up the action and keep those people from sleeping at night. And that's what we're going to do. You know, they have slept long enough. And they're not going to sleep another night from this day forward. We're going to keep up the attack on Custer. We're going to keep up the attack on Cass Lake, Minnesota. We're going to keep up the attack on Ajo, Arizona, or wherever Indian people are abused. Every day is February 6th. Every town is Custer.
I don't think that they have any reason to complain. They have just as much chance as anybody else to do whatever they want to do. I'll admit there's probably prejudice.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I could go up to the courthouse and burn down, start a fire and get by with it for the white people. I don't see why the Indians should do that, get by with it, like they did up there at Custer.
That's all I think, because they were real destructive at Custer. They burned down the Chamber of Commerce building, set fire in the courthouse. For no reason, really. I mean, they haven't had that trial yet that they're fighting against. I'm like her. I don't agree with destroying property, but then maybe that goes along with it. I don't know.
Why, they ought to take him out and hang him.
The time has come when the Indian must fight, when the Indian must stand up for himself. Where the Indian couldn't stand up for himself, that's where the movement should come in, because after all, the Indian is a human being too. And God created the Indian too, as well as the white man. And I think that we should be given a fair chance too. No, we don't believe in violence. Every trouble that comes up while my husband takes up the peace pipe, and through the peace pipe, things could change. But you have to really mean it when you're praying with the peace pipe, with all your mind and with all your soul. And things have changed, and the movement is winning a victory. It's coming yet. But in one of our ceremonies, they told us that the American Indian movement is going to win a victory, and it's coming yet. And we hope it's very soon, because the Indians, when they don't have no one to turn to, and like I said, I myself always say, is there a God that we can pray to? It's hard sometimes. It gets, lonesome when you feel that there's nobody we can turn to. So the American Indian movement is a wonderful thing. I think that's a godsend.
the events that led up to Wounded Knee, all of the history against Indian people, I would say that the public and the news media and the BIA has pushed the Indians to becoming more aggressive, more militant, and that this was the only dramatic way that we could make our problems known throughout the community, throughout the world. I would say is a last desperate, dramatic attempt to bring about corrective changes. I don't think that the action out here is in any way is going to lead to Indian people returning to the old ways. You know, the buffalo is gone. We know that. Everybody knows it. You know, we're not saying we have to go back to the Indian ways before the white man came here. We're saying that in place of the buffalo, you know, there's going to be better jobs on the Indian reservation. There's going to be better homes on the Indian reservation. There's going to be, you know, better educational facilities, our kind of education. You know, the buffalo's gone. We're not returning back to the Indian ways, you know, to live in a teepee and you know, hunting and stuff like that. But we're going to take what is left right now in this society, and we're going to turn it into an Indian society. We have to abide with what we've got here left on the reservation, and I think that we can produce an economy that'll sustain, you know, every Indian on the reservation. I always wonder what Chief Joseph and those warriors thought, you know, about the struggle, about the fight. And then I realized that this Indian War has been going on since Columbus landed. It's the longest racial war in history. The longest war, the longest undeclared war has been not Vietnam, but the one against Indian citizens. We've been fighting war inside of schools, curriculum. We've been fighting wars in employment, attitudes, behaviors. So when I think along those lines, I think of, and maybe that's another reason why AIM might win too, is because there's about 1 million Indian people left, and I think every one of them are warriors and soldiers. Well, before I came here, I was going to school at the University of California at Long Beach. I was preparing myself to go to law school. I was, after hopefully completing law school and passing my bar, I was going to come back and work for the tribe on treaty rights and land rights. But this kind of cut things short. Now, if we're faced with federal offenses and having felonies charged against us, I really don't know if I'll be able to complete that or finish my education. As far as being a lawyer is concerned, I can always finish it in some other capacity, you know, but my real goal for, well, a good portion of my life was to be a lawyer. There's no bigger or greater personal sacrifice than your life, you know. So actually, I don't feel that bad about being either kicked out of school or not being able to finish school. It's because my life is probably the biggest personal sacrifice I could make, and, you know, if I'm willing to do that, I can certainly be willing to sacrifice school. And if it's going to take everyone here dying and creating another massacre, which, you know, well, I think if that's what it takes, that's what everybody's going to do. Everybody here is willing to go through that. Right now, we're facing starvation. We're facing the freeze out that, you know, they're not allowing gas in. Facing the fact that, you know, they're going to cut off electricity. They're going to cut off all supplies coming in here, all medical supplies. And, you know, that's facing certain death there, let alone facing being killed off by the feds, the APCs, the M16s, the 50 calibers, the 30 calibers, and every other sort of weapon they have. You know, that's a violation of treaty rights right now with those APCs you got out there, with the federal marshals you got surrounding the area. This is mainly a bunker for keeping an eye on the enemy out there. It's pretty scary. First time I've had a gun warfare with anybody. They won't listen to us without these guns.
Burning down of the wooden bridges and the dynamiting of the other bridges is to keep the Army's personnel carriers with their bigger guns from coming in here, and keeping like the federal marshals in their cars and their other things from coming across these bridges, getting into Wounded Knee. All it is now is that everything has been blocked off, and security has been stepped up. These bunkers and other new bunkers that are around are just so, you know, they give us protection from their bigger guns.
They peppered the roads, the houses over here with 50 caliber machine gun bullets there, tracers at night. 2 guys have had M16 bullets through them. A third, a medic, a non-Indian guy, has been shot. So it's a real threat.
I faced death, you know, I faced it, you know, look forward to it as something and run away from it. Death has to happen to you anyways, and there's no sense, you know, never thinking about it, because if you don't think about it when it comes to you, it comes as a shock if you're unprepared. And if you're prepared for it, it's not a shock. Death is something you can never run away from. It has to happen. And it's better for me here dying for a cause than, you know, dying of old age. People die every day for ridiculous reasons.
Getting shot really, you know, it really don't bug me that much. I really don't mind getting shot.
The marshals opened up on us, up our perimeter. They opened up on us, so we returned fire, and we got shot.
Or a lot of the people here feel the same way. The majority, about 90% of them, feel the same way. We're here for a cause, like for Wounded Knee, and the people nationwide. This is just an example. It's only the beginning of a lot of the things that could happen. In Pine Ridge, there's people going around, grown men, the tribal president, going around telling people they wouldn't live too much longer, burning houses down, and all this. It's just rot, you know. Come here, this here is an example of the way we feel. And we are willing to sacrifice our lives for our children so they will not have to grow up in the society we grew up in today.
I know, you know, that death is imminent to all of us. It's just the manner in how we choose to go. I'm not going to die of frustration. I'm not going to die with still pipe dreams in my head about self-determination. I'm going to die with knowing that I've contributed something to this society, whether it's Indian society or whether white society accepts to believe that my cause was good or bad. I've accepted the fact that I'll probably be killed off or assassinated or in that fashion. Because history is against me, it's against any national leader, it's against any national figure. You let these people go so far, and then you kill them. But I'm going to fight to live. I'm going to fight, certainly not to die for my cause. I'm going to fight every minute of my life to live for it.